Hello, everybody. This here is the late night and forces show. Oh God, now I'm getting an echo. So here we are, me and Ryan, a dead hood, dead fiend.
Me
This
and
guy.
Ryan and me, blah blah.
Yes. So apparently we had been posting all of our recent videos on the wrong site. Apparently Pornhub is not a place where you post podcasts where you talk about video games.
Nobody told me that. Like, I was like, this looks like a viable market. Lots of people watching videos of content.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we put it there? I mean, hell, that was the title of one of those videos. Why wouldn't we put it there?
God damn it. I'm gonna die.
2 minutes in, and I've already killed him. Yay!
Yay! I mean, I wouldn't say that that's a record, but I mean, what is a record is the hiatus we took this year.
Yeah.
Life happens, right?
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so.
So, it is what it is. I'm gonna pause the background music. Hope everybody's doing alright. Not that I'm too worried about it right now. We'll get more people in here in a little while, but we've got some fun stuff to talk about, you and I.
Yes. Are you drinking hot cocoa? What the fuck?
I'm drinking warm cider.
What?
The Jack Daniel's Winter Cider is actually best served warm. So the way that I drink it is
With your mouth.
what I mean. I figured drinking it with my ass was not doing it the same way.
I mean, you can, and that will get you fucked up real fast, but...
It is something I learned on Pornhub. Hi, hey!
Hey ho! Butt chugs! I think that's
Damn
what
it.
that means.
But
what
it's
that means?
yeah, no, but it is best served warm. So I fill up half a coffee cup, because if you fill up a full coffee cup, the length of time you have to microwave it, and then the length of time by the time you can start drinking it, like the last fourth of the cup will be cold by the time you get to it. So I do half a coffee cup for about 30 to 40 seconds. Let it sit for probably about a minute, just to let it become straight drinking temperature, and you can sip on it for a solid 10 to 15 minutes, and it still be warm, and you're pretty good. It's what I usually start my night off with, and have been for probably, I don't know, last 3-4 weeks with gaming. So whether I'm just farting around on PlayStation or out here streaming, it's usually I'll start with this and then move to my caffeine.
Well, that's a good idea. I mean, the caffeine helps push the alcohol faster through your blood system and
And
stuff.
then you get the little buzzy buzz going. So
Yeah, and that's when we get the real dead hood.
ah.
Yeah.
Yes, the angry one.
No, I wasn't gonna go there. I was just saying, the one that's funnier. I don't know why it sounds like I'm like advocating for drinking, but
Probably because we're alcoholics. I mean, whatever.
actually, I was terrified when I poured my glass of whiskey tonight because I was like, that's a lot of whiskey. That's a fuck ton of whiskey for somebody that's got to go to work tomorrow. Because I haven't been drinking as much as I used to.
Yeah, me either. We actually had at work. So it's the end of the year, right? You and I, we both work corporate jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And what ends up happening is end of year, holiday parties go down, happy hours go down, right? It's kind of the norm.
Yeah.
Well, where I work, our holiday parties are, like everybody knows it, it's trash, because we don't generate revenue for the company. We're a money suck. We cost money. While we save the company money in everything that we do and mitigating risk, etc., we don't generate anything. So our budget is more limited than the same place that yours would be at where I work.
Okay.
So because of that, we have to change it up a little bit. So our holiday party was actually at Dave & Buster's, which was fun, but it was a cash bar. And my senior director looked at me. He was like, cash bar's kind of bush league, bro. He is like DW.
Okay. Well, see, this would have been one of those statements where you just turn and look at him and go, "Fuck you, pay me."
He bought my drink, so I didn't care.
Well, What's he complaining about? He's got the money. You know what? We're not going to go down that path.
We're not going to go down that path. But tell me, what are you drinking? What are you drinking?
Oh, come on. The little old Irish boy that you're speaking with has drinking a sweet, nice glass of Jameson. Just straight up. I guess, was it neat is when it's not on the rocks? I guess.
Yeah.
It's just Jameson inside of a cup, so I put it inside of my mouth.
That's probably the right way to do it.
Well, I mean, there was that one time in band camp.
Butt chugs out of a tuba.
Butt chugs out of a tuba. That shit was messy, too. So, here we are, back again, chatting about video games for your viewing pleasure. And it's been a very long time since we decided to do a debate. So I kind of pitched an idea at Ryan, and
quite literally last minute after work was like, yeah.
Yeah, which would have been about 5 hours ago, our time.
That's kind of how we do things, though.
Yeah, no, we're random. We do it like that. So basically, we usually used to, well, okay, so it used to be one of these things where we'd pick a topic and we'd debate about it, and we'd have like a fucking week to prepare or some other shit like that. But now it's one of these things where, since we just kind of pitched this one, or I pitched this one to you, and you said, yeah, okay, cool, and then we started brainstorming back and forth. Basically, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about games as a service versus games as like a narrative-driven one-time purchase type thing. I mean, there's not much more specific I can get with it, but since Ryan has been recently spending a lot more time playing games such as like Apex, which is a service game, or Destiny or The Division 2, which I don't see how that thing was up for any Game Awards last night, but yeah, okay, so look, you've spent more time in The Division 2 than I have, so technically it's
2 hours.
It's still on the list.
Yeah. So, let's make sure we define service games and narrative-driven games, right? Let's make sure we do that.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the way that I'm viewing it, service-driven games are basically battle royale games, right? Fortnite, Apex, PUBG, even technically kind of For Honor is technically a battle royale. I'm not gonna say Overwatch is a BR, is a true battle royale, because it's arena combat, but it's not.
That's kind of a different monster, though, because with Overwatch,
Overwatch is it's not a battle royale, but it is a service level game.
It's
included in that.
It's also a one-time purchase game, though, so that's the thing.
So it's like PUBG.
True, very true.
PUBG's not free to play, so.
Doesn't PUBG have a battle pass, though?
No, so PUBG, I don't know how PUBG's like season oriented stuff work. I have the game on PlayStation. It was purchased for me, and I played all of like 5 games and was like, yeah, I'm out. It's not my play style. It's very slow. I don't like the graphics. The graphics are very like original Counter-Strike. On my laptop in my room when I was 15 is what they feel like to me. And it's very blocky. I don't like the movement. I'm not a big fan of third person in that game mode. You can play first person, but it's meant to play in the third person, so it's kind of odd. It never stuck with me, and I tried, right? I don't like the user interface. The loot system is way more complex. It's definitely more of a PC game than it is a console game, in my opinion, in how the loot system works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how their season system works, but it is a single purchase game. It's not free to play like the
other one. Some of the other ones.
The 1 vs 100, Fortnite, Apex.
Now, although another one that I want to make sure that we put in the bucket is Dauntless, which is basically a free to play Monster Hunter. I don't want to call it a ripoff, because it does things from other things. Like, it is like Monster Hunter, where you're gathering equipment or pieces of monsters to turn them into armor sets and weapons, but it is a free download that has a battle pass type thing.
I have it on the PlayStation. I just haven't done anything with it, and I really need to. So maybe so we can play one night. But
yeah,
I just haven't.
In fact, what's really cool about this game now, granted, I think we have to set up our actual friendships through Epic to make sure that we play together, because this is a true multi-platform game.
It's like Fortnite.
Yeah, well, yes. But with it being done in that way, I think they have to take the friend requests and game requests outside of that ecosystem, because it just came out on the Switch, and I have it on the Switch, the Xbox, and the PlayStation 4, just because it's super easy to just install and then, set my account, and all my stuff is there. So if I wanted to play with you, boom, shakalaka, there it is. If I wanted to play with my son, boom, shakalaka, there it is. Kind of also like Paladins, which was another one that I wanted to bring up, because that one is just like Overwatch, but it's free to play. You can buy the characters separately or
Is that a
buy.
phone game?
No, it is a Overwatch style arena class-based shooter. I mean, way back when Overwatch first came out, Paladins was right on the heels of it, to the point where people are like, well, this is just an Overwatch clone. And come on, it takes a good amount of time to make a fucking video game. You can't just shit something out that quickly. And it was too close to the...
I mean, you can, Destiny, but...
No, let's not say Destiny per se. What was the last really broken-ass piece of shit? Oh, Fallout 76. That's another...
They just had a whole bunch of maintenance on that. They concluded, I saw on Twitter. I'm like, wow, you guys are still doing shit to the game?
They're trying to say... Real fast, side note, did you know that there's now a subscription-based service for a game that you could pay $60 for? There's a $100 a year subscription service for a fucking game that you pay $60 to play. I mean, just go ahead and let that sink in, because fuck that shit. Now,
So,
granted,
do I have to do $60 to buy the game, or can I just pay the $100 a year and then I get the game and all the content?
no. You have to pay $60 to get the game, or whatever they're going for right now.
You have your entry fee.
Yes, you have your entry fee, then there's your subscription fee. Now, Fallout 76 is an always online game, like Destiny, Anthem, shit along those lines, right? As part of this plan, I didn't go very far, because once I saw that this was one of the things that you have to pay for to get, I noped right the fuck out. Like, I've spent maybe 5 hours in the copy of 76 that I got for a Christmas present like 2 years ago. But it's one of these things where if you're part of that subscription plan, you can now have a single instance. Like, you can set a private instance so that you can go in, you can invite specific people into this instance. You cannot do that unless you pay for their service.
Huh.
That's fucking dumb, in my opinion.
That is dumb.
That should be offer number one. Like, usually that is one of the first things that you see in a Rockstar-based online side of their games. Grand Theft Auto 5, you could create a private world for you and your homies. I never got very far into it in Red Dead Redemption, which is another
Don't
thing.
even get me started on fucking custom game shit right now, man.
Yeah?
Fucking Apex, bro. Like,
So let's just get down into it. So Apex is a phenomenal fucking shooter. I am going to state
love
that
it.
it's a great game.
I didn't think I would. I really didn't think I would.
And I actually, it was one of these
It's your
things
fault
where,
that I played this game.
hey, now, son.
I'm just saying, Dad. It's you were like, yo, free to play Titanfall game thing. You should mess with it. And I'm like, nah, because I'm not like big into mechs. And then I was like, you know what? I'll fucks with it. I'll give it I will try. I will make the effort.
Mm-hmm.
I committed to making the effort. And it's fucking, like, here I am, midway
4,000
through Season
hours.
3, fucking stupid amounts of playtime. I've got an extra account on PlayStation now, and we can get into that in a minute as to why, where I am fucking steamrolling kids. And it is a stupid amount of fun. And there was a long period of time, years, where PvP was not my thing, right? Where I was way more narrative based. I was story based. I wanted to be like really pulled into the world. What's up, Ethan? And like dive into the lore of whatever I was playing. That lore exists in all these server-based games, but it's all in the background, which is kind of reminiscent of how Destiny did all its shit, because all its lore was originally on the website, right? It's in through all the cards, it's in through the Book of Sorrow, all the shit for Crota. They've done a whole lot better of introducing that into the game in recent years, but I haven't played Destiny, since I finished Forsaken. Like, there's been one full-on expansion in 2 seasons that I haven't played. And right now, if I load it up on my Xbox, it says, make sure you set it up for crossplay before you play, otherwise you can't. Which I think that's a cool fucking feature. But we're not here to get into Destiny tonight. Let's talk about Apex.
Well, we're not talking completely about Apex, but yeah,
Apex in of itself as a service level game, even though it's done by EA, I think it hits the mark. In terms of gameplay, Apex is addicted to me. Got to get this on pen and paper. So Apex, at mechanics wise, I really like it. The movement is fast. It's way faster than any other multiplayer we have ever played. I jump into COD. COD's fast twitch movement is not as good. It's not as clean.
Which is funny that you say that, because of the history of the company that makes.
Yeah, I think they made it better, or it's reminiscent of old COD.
Yeah, and COD got dumped down so that it was more accessible for the everyman.
Yeah. So in that aspect, I think Respawn did really well. It's making me want to play Titanfall and Titanfall 2.
You can skip.
I have them.
Yeah, okay, well, you might as well just throw out Titanfall 1. I think those servers are pretty much dead, and that was a multiplayer-only based game.
Right. So I have Titanfall 2 because it was free at one point, so I downloaded it. But overall, there are issues with Apex. It's not perfect, okay? There's a couple of things that, didn't Respawn make Apex, or did EA? So EA is the publisher. They're the big money behind it. That's why, it's all, you get the EA Access discount when you're buying Apex coins and shit like that, right? But Respawn is the developer. That's how the gaming industry works, is you have a developer and a publisher. Very rarely will you have a developer that publishes their own games, i.e., Bungie now does that in terms of Destiny. It used to be Activision was their publisher. They have since cut ties within the last year, and now they publish all their own content. The issue when you have a publisher and a developer is you can have them butt heads, right? Because you'll get big money bags EA that's like, give me the dollar bills, y'all. You got to do this on this timetable. You do not have the option to do anything else. And then developers like, but it's not what we want to do. This isn't going to be a good experience for the gamer. We will lose players if we do it this fast, if we cut corners, if we pull shit out and make it DLC later. Shit like that. So that's how the gaming industry works for the most part. But yeah.
Yeah, let me just throw a little bit in there.
You got stuff for this, I know. So
yeah, so unless it's an independent developer, and then that's a totally different situation. Usually, that kind of game stuff you're going to only find on PC. Like when you initially found Undertale, that was done by Toby Fox, and then he put it out that way. Found places that would allow him to sell it through them as a marketplace. Eventually, it got to the point where it got to consoles, but there was all sorts of agreements that were made through other companies and things along those lines. Physical versions were published through other outlets. But this is a basic, what is this, Business 101? We can't do this. I don't know enough about it to really get into it. We want to talk about record labels. I could get into that shit for no apparently good reason, other than I remember it from 20 years ago when I was in college? Fucking 20 years. So,
damn.
Yeah, I'm old. So Apex is one of those things where, and it spawns from Titanfall, which is a fantastic game. Now, I fell in love with Titanfall 1. Because that was when I was big into my Call of Duty phase with a few of my guys, and they had that open beta. God, this is all about Apex now, isn't it?
Well,
and so
we're not going to stick on Apex too long, but there are some things about like the state of the game that I want to go through, and then after that we can dip onto other items, because the main topic, right, is service versus narrative, and you've played more narrative-driven games this year than I have. So yeah.
So going to like Titanfall 2, it's one of these things where they kind of sort of set up something like Apex with the bad guys that are in that as the Apex Predators, run by the one guy that you saw in the initial opening cutscene that they used for Apex Legends. Apex Legends, right? Not Apex Champ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. Apex Legends. You're right. You got it.
But so what concerns me though is that EA basically has its Fortnite now, which that's a whole nother fucking bag of dicks.
That's a fucking cast in and of itself.
Yeah. So I was actually genuinely afraid that Respawn was going to get like tagged as being just the Apex group. Like, you can't make anything else. This makes us too much money. So when they did Jedi Fallen Order, which is a narrative-driven game, no PvP, it was fantastic that at least some of the team can break free and do something totally different, because that's what you need. You stagnate people for too long in one thing, they're going to get bored. You're going to start getting fucking moldy ass fucking content that's coming out on your shit, because they're all just stuck in the same rut, taking care of the same things. Fuck, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
I don't either. So, but it's
the
one of these
whiskey
things
has taken hold, ladies and gentlemen. We about to get real fun here in a minute.
Yeah, we are. So now I'm going to take a sidestep. So Ryan, would you say that you spent probably at least 100 hours playing Apex overall?
You need to pump those numbers up, bro.
500?
At least. Consider it is. You remember how I used to play Destiny? It's about like that. You got to remember, I have traveled plenty this year, and I have taken my PlayStation or my Xbox with me, so that I can play in the hotel. Because when I used to travel, I used to be like, all right, let's go out. We're going to go out. We're going to have dinner. We're going to get drinks. We're going to have a good time. And what I do now, that's not really like because I considered it with what I did when I worked with you. It was kind of like a job requirement, right? Like, you got to take people out, you gotta build that relationship, and that's really what I was about at that time of my life. Now, I go out, I have my meetings that I have to have throughout the day, and then, all right, well, after dinner, what am I gonna do for the next like 3 or 4 hours? Go to sleep? Nah, man, let's fire up the game system. And the PlayStation is super easy to fucking travel with. Like, it's retarded easy to travel with. So, I'm probably somewhere in between 500 to 1,000 hours worth of Apex. I could, if I were to go through all of the platforms, because I play it on all three. Okay, I'm like level 12 to 14 on PC. My PlayStation is like 118 now that they made the changes. My Xbox, I haven't done a whole lot on it, but I think I'm probably, I don't know, like, I'd have to look at it, but it's probably like 105 or something like that. Combined, I'm somewhere between 500 to 1,000 hours. So, yeah. But I'm trying to think if there's the biggest issue currently in the Apex community, okay? And it can be like this with all service level games, okay? This is something for all service level games, all BRs, that have different modes, like a ranked mode or like a competitive mode and a casual mode, right? If you have a competitive ranked system built into the game, your casual pub mode should not be based with skill-based matchmaking. It should be 100% random, right? You queue. The first 60 that are within that queue period, within your data center, they hit the game. Or the first 100, whatever game you're playing, right? Doesn't matter. Apex right now and over the past season so far instituted skill-based matchmaking. So it's like ranked light. What it does is it takes, if you go in with a pre-made team, like if I go in with you, you party up with me, and we run in, we're on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. It is putting us in platinum level players that are on my level.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? And it will fill the blank spots with whoever's available, right? But it cues you into the ranking that you have within the competitive system and the general skill base. It's not really varying stats from what I can see, but it's really more based on the ranking system. It'll put you into the closest tier and then fill you with whoever's left. Now, Respawn says that they've got irrefutable evidence that this has retained players over time because this is allowing less skilled players to not get stomped on, right? By top-end people like Vis, Tanner Slays, Crafty, Doc, fucking Shroud, all those big-name dudes that are like NRG, Dizzy, ACAU, freaking Lulu Lovely, all of them that are fucking beasts at this fucking game. Like, I'm talking, these are tournament-level players that destroy lives and souls in this game.
Right.
It's not queuing you with them. Right? So, in general, thought process-wise, I get it because it's kind of like, it's not fair to the casual player to do that. Mm-hmm. But there's something that I was watching one of Crafty's streams 6 months ago during season 2. He had created a Smurf account, and they all have Smurf accounts from when they're working with somebody else on who's a partner on Twitch that maybe isn't in their rank. Like when Vis and Crafty were Predator, but Dr. Disrespect wasn't a Predator, he was still in Diamond. Instead of queuing him into Predator matches, they created Smurfs and joined him, and they were like bronze or silver or platinum or whatever, and they freaking they don't care. And they were queuing into his diamond level matches, which it's the same player, so it's their same skill base. It's just their ranking is lower, so they're not adversely affecting him. Right. So I was watching Crafty one day, and he said, "You know what? Somebody was giving him shit because he was jumping into pub matches and jumping into ranked matches and destroying people with Gibraltar, who is one of the big boys. He feels slower, even though they all run the same speed, but his fast twitch movements are a little bit slower because he's a big dude." And he said, "You know what? Sometimes people just got to get owned, man." And that's true to a point, right? No. Sometimes you just got to get fucked up. That's how it works in this game, in the Battle Royale space. That's how it works. You just got to get fucked. Like, Ninja gets fucked up by Tfue all the time. Ninja fucks up Tfue. Like, these big Fortnite players, Tim the Tatman has been getting wrecked sometimes in fucking Call of Duty, and his, like, watching him rage is akin to watching you do Magic Fire. It is hilarious. It is...
Magic Fire. God damn it.
Look, okay?
That shit's never gonna fucking leave me, is it?
Is Evolve ever gonna leave me?
When's the last time I actively brought up Evolve?
Is Anthem ever gonna leave Hater?
No, but that's because of a different reason. He was
rolling up for Hater.
Yeah, he wasn't
Let's throw
actively
some Sleep Love
playing.
Pool in the chat or some Pog in the chat for Hater because he's not with us tonight. He's got some shit going on. We miss him. But no, in general, like, that's the one thing Apex needs to change is if they get rid of skill-based matchmaking, it'll be fun again. The whole reason I created a Smurf on PlayStation is because I wanted to give it a shot, and I was like, you know what? Pathfinder as a legend is difficult for me to play. I'm not good with the grapple and the swing angles. I fuck it up all the time. I'm not good with it. And so I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna main Pathfinder as my primary legend, and that's who I'm gonna play. And I've started getting really good with him. So now I'm just queuing as whoever, and I don't really care. But I had 2 games where I ran my first 3,000 damage game ever on my Smurf account. And I lost that game. I'm so salty about it. It's very sad. Because I watched the end of it like 10 times, and I'm yelling at myself because I know what to do and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So, And then I won the next one as like that was a 12 kill game. The next one was a 13 kill game, and I won that one. I clutched it up, and that was only still like 2k damage or something like that. But it was fun. Like I had fun again.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing that you mentioned that is because talking about what's really funny. Let me take a step back. What's really funny is listening to you, one of what I refer to as buff boys, guys who goes to the gyms and gets these shits rips, is being one of these dudes that's like, well, you gotta just keep at it if you want to get good at it. That's the same thing as going to the gym. If you want your fucking delts to fucking sing, you gotta fucking get on the delt thing and make the delt sing. I don't fucking know anything that I'm talking about when it comes to that.
I'm gonna let that run, but just be aware that David's gonna look at that and he's gonna like.
What's a delt? So I think it's really good, but it's also like, did you just fucking dab? What the fuck, dude?
Fucking, I turn 34 next week. I'm fucking dabbing on the internet. Goddamn. Oh man, but yeah. So let's throw up a difference real quick between a service level game such as Apex or Fortnite or even Overwatch. Okay. And give me an example of something that is a narrative-driven game. And I'm going to go get me another drink while you do that, because I'll still be able to hear you. Is comparable, I guess, in general, like from a 30,000-foot view in terms of comparability.
Okay, so you're wanting me not to go from Apex to Skyrim, is what you're saying.
I don't think that's fair. You know,
How
like,
is
that's
that
not like that's not an equal comparison in my opinion.
Okay.
But,
So then let's take a step back and then so if we're looking at a similar comparison from 30,000 feet away, whatever you say it is. So then in my thought process of that, we're talking about first person shooter, something that is similar in that aspect to where it's to a grandma who's looking at it. It's the same fucking game that you play on your Nintendos. But BioShock is more one of these things where that game is based solely around one particular character getting to one particular outcome, and it is one of these things where the entire interaction. We're not going to talk about the boss fight, but the entire interaction is key to a certain story. You have a certain, let's call it a linear path. So your map set is a lot longer. There's more setup as to where you're going. Things are laid out specifically for you to interact with them in that way to register a certain feeling. And when it comes to something like a arena shooter or a PvP type shooter, if I'm only doing just kind of those separations, nothing's really set up that way, and the only emotion that you're really going to get is like joy or anger. When in certain situations, such as BioShock, you can actually start to generate fear just because of silence, maybe some noise direction and things along those lines. You can't really get that all that much from a service game, not to mention the narrative itself as far as where you are. Like, if we were to go back and look at Apex Legends, we understand that it is basically a game show that happens in the Titanfall universe. And there is just... Ooh, now I got an echo.
It's just because the microphone is reestablishing, that's all.
Okay. So it's one of these things where that's basically the only story you get. You get picked up from the bad guy from Titanfall 2 to be an Apex Legend. And there you go. That's your story. That's all you're doing. Go have a good time, shoot people.
Yeah, you're not really brought into the fact that this is post Civil War. It's to learn that lore, you got to dive into it, or you have to have played Titanfall 2.
Yeah, and it has to be introduced to you. You have to go find it instead of it being introduced to you, such as like through audio logs or things along those lines that basically tell you about the environment that you're in that you would see from a narrative-driven game. My thing is the older I get, it's kind of one of these things where like Apex is fun to play around with when I can get people that don't take it seriously, which is why I'm very happy you have a Smurf account, because then I don't feel like I'm basically a ball and chain dragging you down while we're messing around together, because I do. It's okay. I'm all right with saying that. Just ask.
You aren't the only person that I have played with that has been a drag. I play with a lot of randoms that are usually a drag. Some of them can be pretty good. Some of them can clutch up. I'm not so concerned about randoms playing with me clutching up as I am with them being able to stay on me if I'm leading the team. There's plenty of times I jump in and I'm the slow one.
Yeah.
So
I remember one time I was playing with David and one of his buds, and I panicked and shot at a Mirage, like the Mirage, not a Mirage, if you get my meaning.
Yeah.
And which gave away our position and ended up getting us killed. Granted, we made it to the second squad, like, last squad to die, and I was super excited because
sometimes you get bamboozled, bro.
Yeah, well, it happens. And when you're the guy that's been marked as the backdoor specialist, you have to kind of take your job seriously, and you see a motherfucker come running up your booty hole, you're going to shoot at him. That's all I'm saying. But granted, those are those moments that game creates. That's it. Right there. It's almost like, ooh, I'm going to go down the path that I'm going to regret. All right, it's almost like cocaine. It's real fast, and it does what it's there for, but you have to do it again to get that same hit. Granted, I've never done cocaine, don't do drugs, kids, stay in school. But it is one of those things where that one's more of a quick kind of boom shakalaka. Now, something that lasts a little longer, like your marijuana, your alcohol, something that'll give you about 2 hours worth of relaxation, if you will. That's more of a narrative-driven game, to the point where, fuck. This is now all out on the internet. My ex-wife's gonna throw it up in court. He's not fit to be a parent. But so I mean, but like, I really wish you didn't hamper me and make me go with BioShock.
It's not about staying with shooter. I think it's so if you're looking at something that is very deep lore, narrative driven, storyline driven. I mean, for me, I would look at, okay, let's look at God of War.
Well, so I was actually gonna use Red Dead Redemption, because that's a lot more top level. There's not that much as Americans that we really need to delve into it. I mean, fucking, we all remember cowboys and Indians, that kind of shit. Like, it's something that's been well ingrained into our thought process being Americans, or at least my old ass remembers going out and playing cowboys and Indians and cowboys and robbers.
It is like chapped leather.
Fucker. Oh. Next time you're over here, you're going to need to say the safety word 5 times. You little fucking shit.
We'll see if I can count.
Yeah, right. But it's one of these things where, like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that I actually spent over 100 hours in it to actually see credits once I finally got to the end of it. I thought it was a fantastic game. You're not constantly being bombarded by stuff, but there is things that you could do off the beaten path, like particular animals that you could go hunt for and things along those lines. Now, granted, Red Dead Redemption 2 does have an online portion of it, but that's not why I played the game. I played the game specifically for that story and to go through that because I enjoyed what they were doing. They were basically making a Western movie, or better yet, let's
it was like Grand Theft Auto, but with horses.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you really look at it, the way it plays out, it's more like watching a TV show. Like, if you sit down and treat it as
Hatfield versus McCoy's.
Yeah, if you kind of just look at it in that way, like, give yourself like a couple of hours to play it every night. Are you fucking seriously going to start barking? Please don't.
Hi, Tifa.
Yeah. She's about to climb up now that I've acknowledged her. Yep, there she goes. So it's one of these things where there's there are overarching story parts that will keep you going. Granted, there's always those slow bits that you got to get through. Which is not really something that you run into when you're playing like a service PvP-based game. But also, it's kind of one of these things, baby, do not go for the microphone. I know you love doing it. It's God damn it, where the fuck was I going? That is too much whiskey for me. I haven't drank that much whiskey in
Fiend
about...
is a lightweight now, ladies and gentlemen. He's getting super old and decrepit.
So, although tomorrow night I'm getting turned as fuck. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it, but man, I have spent a fuck ton of money in the past couple of months that I did not want to spend, that I didn't want to spend it. And I just spent more of it today. And so, you know, my company's Christmas party is tomorrow, and everybody's like, "Are you gonna go to the Christmas party?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna go home after I get off work on Saturday, and I'm gonna get fucking drunk." And they're like, "You can do that at the Christmas party." I'm like, I don't want anybody fucking talking about what Ian did at the fucking Christmas party on Monday morning.
To drive.
No, I've got a designated driver.
Well, okay. I'm just saying, like, yeah. Hey, are you gonna like play anything?
Me and Steadiest Rhyme may sit down and play. I recently picked up, so I'm addicted to Switch games, to buying Switch games. Let me see if I can rotate. I don't know if you can see the Switch collection right under here. I don't know how he has the video cropped, so you may not be able to see him. But there's quite a bit of a selection of Switch games there, because I'm a physical Switch whore. I've got probably 30 games. I want to say 15 of those I haven't even touched.
Are they behind you to the right?
They are behind me to the right, yes. To my right.
They're right here. They're right here.
Right
There. I had to throw the cursor up on it.
Right there.
There you go.
There's a lot. Oh, I just realized they're all covered up by other games.
Yay!
Well, fuck. Fantastic. That's what I get for not looking back and thinking I can go off.
Fiend has a Nintendo problem. I
haven't.
Yeah.
But I recently purchased a game called River City Gals or Girls. Basically, what it is long story short, it is a beat 'em up, and it's the concept of it is like if Double Dragon, instead of the girls getting kidnapped, the boys got kidnapped. So you get to play as the girlfriends trying to save their boyfriends.
Very progressive.
Yeah. Well, and it's made by Way Forward, and they do a lot of really fucking good shit. So it's kind of one of these things where it's like, fuck it. I'm actually, the older I get, the more I start stepping backwards into the older games, like back into like the 16-bit era type stuff, the turn-based JRPGs, the fucking Fire Emblems, which fucking shit. That's a game I'm 60 hours into, and I think I still got another 20 to go, which fuck me in the ass. But
I mean, if you're asking.
I'm just waiting for my my little my professor Alita to join up with the little singing girl Dorothea. Yeah. Waiting for that to play out. I mean, granted, they don't actually have a romantic intercourse, but you know,
let's kind of dwindle this into a kind of a one-for-one. Who is what in terms of like the state of the gaming industry? Okay, what do we think is changing, and do we think it's good or bad?
Well, so that's the bad thing is I really think a lot of companies are going to games as a service, which isn't a bad idea if you build your game as being a games as a service, and you somehow get the, what was the term you used earlier?
Hybrid?
Entry fee, I think?
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as you get your entry fee in line with what you intend to do in the future, then that's understandable. Like, don't sell a game at $60 if you are going to bombard people with microtransactions after the fact, like Street Fighter V. The base model of that game should be super inexpensive, or Killer Instinct. Well, okay, Killer Instinct's not fair because
it's not fair, but
it's free.
Yeah.
And you know it has a revolving character. But let's use Paladins again. I hate to go back to that, but it is a free-to-play game that has a chunk of characters that are set to free-to-play characters all the time, and then they'll rotate out some of the other characters to entice you.
Are those other characters only available for real money purchase, or can you grind out in-game currency to buy them?
You can grind out in-game currency to buy them. It is a possibility. In fact, I did
So
that.
it's like Apex.
I guess so.
Because the main characters that drop, right? The ones like where you start having to purchase characters is at Caustic, Mirage, Octane, Watson, and Crypto. Those are it drops with 6 base with the option to purchase Caustic and Mirage, and you can purchase them for in-game red legend tokens that you grind out. You can't buy those. You can also spend money on them if you would like, but you don't need to. You can grind them out.
If you choose to.
Yeah. It's a complete choice. But
yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But fuck, where was I going? So when you've got games that had a price tag, a particular price tag, and then they start doing battle passes, which the newest Call of Duty, a $60 game, has battle passes.
Well, yeah, they just started with their season 1. Like, it just dropped this week or last week.
Which, now granted, they did do something that kind of counterbalances it, where they're like, hey, we're not charging for maps this game. We're going to give you all the maps for free. That's fantastic. That's awesome.
That's a 180 flip for the Call of Duty brand.
Franchise, yeah, because usually you sell the game and the season pass.
But it makes sense with the fact that they're doing a battle pass.
Yeah, because now basically what they're doing is throughout the year they're going to have you pay 10. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but let's say $10.
Most battle passes are anywhere from $10 to $20.
Yeah, $10 every 2 months or 1 month, whatever the fuck it is. There's more possibility for money in there. I'm assuming. But another game that, when I recently found out had battle passes, kind of threw me off was Rocket League. Rocket League has a battle pass. Rocket League is a purchase at like $20. Granted, that's not that much, but there's not that much there.
Yeah.
So a $20 purchase is fine for that kind of game. Now you start throwing battle passes at it. Again, I honestly haven't done any research into it to see how much it costs for the battle pass or what's in it. But if it's just skins, if it's just trails or things along those lines, it's like, is it really fucking worth it?
I'll agree with you, and that's probably not something you were expecting. In terms of entry fees and battle passes, okay? If your entry fee into the platform of the game is the full retail $60, and additional content is going to cost you, $20 every, say, 12 weeks. Like Apex seasons right now are running 10 to 12 weeks. And the premium the base model battle pass is $10, right? It's 950 coins. The premium one that gets you the first 26 levels is like 2,000 and change in terms of coins, so it's just a little bit over $20. But it gives you that head start, right? Completing their battle pass is super simple, so I do feel like EA is kind of overcharging for that premium level 26, but it's EA. You can't really be surprised. That being said, I do feel like your entry fee into the platform should be sub $40. Like $40 is your cap. Regardless of the amount of, even if you were to do a hybrid game and have a storyline, right? Have a campaign, a narrative-driven mode, and a PvP mode. If you're going to institute the Battle Pass system into your PvP mode, like Call of Duty, for example, you should not be charging the full retail $60 or more for legendary versions or special edition versions, whatever, and then it coming back after the first 2 months the game's been out, because that's what happens. They come back the first 2 months to drop the first season. They get they get your entry and they say, all right, come in and basically beta test this game, and now we're going to do the seasons. Yeah. Because that's where the game really starts, is on season 1 in terms of the PvP crowd, right?
Yeah.
People get in and they're like, all right, the first 2 months is warm up. Now the season starts. Now let's get it. Let's go. And now I got to pay money for a battle pass if I want the additional stuff. if you are not going to have those items and you're going to be like Star Wars Fallen Order, $60 is fine.
Yeah.
Like, get your money for the game. And to be honest, let's be real, games should be costing more than $60 now.
Yeah, they should. If a particular publisher doesn't already have access to their own Fortnite, if you get my meaning. Now, EA and Respawn have their own Fortnite, so to a certain extent, $60, that's fine. Granted, also, it kind of depends on how long the game is. I know that game development is an expensive thing, but going back and using just Call of Duty as an example in this aspect, there was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. That campaign, granted, I wasn't like the best Call of Duty player at the time, but once I got to that campaign, it took me 4 hours to get through. The previous two Modern Warfare games had decent length campaigns. This was 4 fucking hours.
You're right.
So it's kind of one of these things where it's like all your efforts were put into the multiplayer. Understandable, because that's where you get that's where you retain most of your players.
Yeah. For a shooter, that's where you keep your people. Not many people are going back and replaying shooter campaigns on the regular.
Unless they're fun, like me with Halo. I've played through those campaigns.
I think Halo is a little bit of a different animal, but I think that's a fair comparison in terms of shooters and stories.
Now, I will tell you this though, back a ways back, let's say Halo 3, Halo Reach. If they did something like a Battle Pass type thing, that was back when basically I could only acquire 1 game a year for particular situations we're not going to go into. So it was one of these things where if there was something where I could get a little bit more out of the game by putting a little bit more into it, that's a different situation. Now I've gotten to the point where I have a little bit more ability to procure games on a regular basis. So games such as Apex, Paladins, Dauntless, they all kind of fall to the wayside for me because it's one of these things where it's like, yes, the grind is there, the gameplay is there, the gameplay is fun, but it's also one of these things where it's like there's nothing that keeps pulling me back. Like there's nothing that says, I want to see what happens to Joe Jedi over here who's got fucking robot on his back. Like
the only way that happens is by having alternate endings everywhere.
Well, yeah, but I mean, then you're going down the fighting game path where everybody has their own reason for getting into the Apex Legends thing. And how the fuck do you even give like an ending to that? Does it pop up every time you win? Or can you then see it after you've won with that particular character? Because that's another thing. Is like back when I was a kid and I got like Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo, I beat the game on the hardest difficulty with each of the playable characters because that was the only fucking game I had. And I saw everybody's endings, which was great. And if, much like today, where I think it's like Street Fighter 5 is supposed to end with 40 characters available in it, but it launched with much less than that. I don't even remember how much it launched with. It's not something that I got into because I'm not a big fighting game guy, although I'm still waiting for Samurai Showdown to go on sale. Because somehow...
Hanzo said that game is fun as hell, but it's very technical and very defense-oriented.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't surprise me, but I want it on the PlayStation because at one point... I don't know how long, and if it was a mistake, the season pass for that game was free. So I went in. Yeah, so I grabbed the season pass. So it's like, okay, now I have to have it on PlayStation.
Yeah. Are you going to be able to play that online though without Plus?
No, that would be like if you got it, I would probably buy like maybe a 3-month or a 1-month thing, so that you and I can fuck with it for a little bit. But I'm not going.
Mine's on a monthly renew, and I only renew it if I'm going to play something that requires it, since Apex doesn't require it.
Yeah, Apex, Dauntless, Paladins, those don't require it. Hell, I don't even think Warframe would require it because
that's the
free-to-play
games. That Sony does better, man. That is the one thing that Sony does better.
That's the same on the other two platforms.
You have to have the gold membership to play Apex.
Okay. I can't test that because I don't have it, but I would think.
I've tested
I'll look
it.
into that. I will look into that.
I've tested it. You have to
What,
have the gold.
have you tested it recently?
What?
Have you tested it recently? That's all I'm asking.
I mean, since Apex has come out, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I just mean recently.
I haven't had my PlayStation Plus active for like 2 months.
Okay. What about your Xbox?
That renews every year.
Okay. Well, then you can't test that. That's what
I would have to not. I would have to not renew it, but
yeah.
Without the ability,
You know
so I actually have friends that don't have Live.
Okay.
And they can't play Apex with me unless they get a card on Xbox.
All right. Well, I'm going to test another game. I'm going to test a different game. I'm going to see if I could get Steadius to download Dauntless onto her Xbox, because she doesn't pay for Live on that since she went full PlayStation after she got hers.
Yeah. Totally get it.
Sorry, I always do that. I always
figure it out.
And go for it. Where were we? I don't even know where the fuck we were talking about anymore.
I don't think anybody knows. So here's where I think we can wrap up. The gaming industry is changing, okay, and it's been changing for the last probably 5 years at a very fast pace. It's been leaning towards service platform games and styles of games, regardless of whether or not they are narrative driven or not. I think a lot of that kind of started with the Destiny style games, okay? Because Destiny is narrative driven, but is more of an MMO service level game, okay? And MMOs aren't really fair to bring into this because they are hybrids. They have narrative pieces woven into them, but they are a service game at their core. That's what they are. They're subscription based. And then Battle Royales jumped out, right, with PUBG and Fortnite. Whether they had an entry fee or not, they have battle passes, they have seasons. To maintain random current content, unless you're fine with all the base model default content, additional money is required. And then you've got newer narrative-driven games like Star Wars Fallen Order, and Red Dead Redemption and God of War that dive deep into a world to immerse you. It still is gamer personal preference for sure on what everybody wants to play. I do think the market, though, is dominated by service level games. And I think it will continue to be so for the next 10 years. Because the next generation of gamer wants that. And it's not us.
And this is going to lead into our next debate that you and I are going to have. Because I know we're going to go head to head on this one.
Probably.
Which
will be a good one. That'll be a good one.
So it's well, hopefully we're on the same page here with all the vague statements that we're making. Is having a console that has games that are downloaded or installed, let's say installed directly onto the system. Doesn't matter how it gets installed directly onto your system, or a game system where it is just a service, such as Stadia.
So we're gonna go Stadia versus everything else. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's basically where I want to go with it, is just kind of debating the two differences, like the benefits and the drawbacks, which, as you kind of stated, if we're going towards the point where people just want to be able to turn on their TV, know that they have a game system available through an app that's on their TV, and they want to play the Fortnites or the Tetris 99s or whatever type of versus type thing there is, then, that is something that we have to look into. But
does the Tetris 99 have a battle pass or something like that?
No, actually, they don't. But they do have, they actually have skins that you can buy for the, I'll have to show you sometime. They have skins for the background and it changes the music.
I was going to say, are you changing the colors of the tiles? What the fuck?
Kind of, sort of. But you can't spend you can't spend actual money to do specifically that. There is actually what is it? There is a DLC thing that is like an offline mode that costs $10. But since this is a game that's tied into your network, or I'm sorry, Nintendo Online subscription,
Yeah.
there's no additional cost for just the battle or just the baseline. Like I'll have to stream it some night and
Yeah.
I can kind of walk you through what's there.
Yeah.
Holy shit, excuse me. But yeah, so yes, a lot of what's happening in the industry, I agree with you, is everybody's going towards these PvP season-based things. Like, real quick, just throwing this out there. Look at Fortnite. They recently did like a Fortnite Chapter 2, which a lot of people are referring to as Fortnite 2.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not. It's one of these things where they wrote themselves into a corner with their pseudo weird underlying narrative that they couldn't find a way out. So they had to like just basically, fuck that shit. We're in a new galaxy or some other shit like that. But it's still Fortnite. You look it up on
They're
Twitch.
in a new galaxy. They're in a new place.
I haven't jumped into the save the world side of that game in way too fucking long.
It sounds like they ripped off Apex Season 3 into their storyline is what they did.
Oh, it would not surprise me because
they're in direct competition. I mean, Apex won multiplayer game of the year yesterday.
Yeah, well, yeah. On the video game awards. Game Awards, yeah.
And the fact that who won game of the year?
Sekiro.
Yeah, I still fucking have that shit, and I need to play it. I was surprised that they won, because there were, in my opinion, but that I haven't finished the game, obviously. But in my opinion, I feel like there are probably some better games out there than Sekiro.
I hate to sound like an asshole, but I was surprised that Sekiro won when giving it to Death Stranding would have been easy for Jeff Keighley to be able to suck Kojima's dick like he wanted to when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out.
I heard there's a lot of people that don't like Death Stranding.
So I want to fuck with it. I want to fuck with it hard.
I think the graphics look stupid clean.
Yeah, but it's one of these things where I'm waiting for sub 20 to be able to jump into that. Or I did put it on my Amazon list. I think that's why people don't like it.
It's the same thing as fucking Breakpoint, right? It's about to be, it's what, $16?
Yeah, but that has other fucking elements that Wildlands didn't have, and that's just a big fucking turnoff to me. Because that's what I loved about Wildlands, is that there wasn't fucking levels to your guns and your gears. You guys could fuck off. No, Wildlands?
Yeah. It's technically your operator level, I think, but it's... No, you're right. There's not an individual gun level.
Yeah. Because it's
been so long since we played that, we can't really speak too accurately about it now. They might have made changes. I don't know. We should probably play it soon. But, okay, so preview for the next one, whenever that one, happens to be. Stadia versus everyone else, right? Cloud gaming versus everything else, basically. Right?
Yeah, because Xbox or Microsoft even has its own cloud gaming. Sony has dabbled in it before, and it's fine if that's the only way that you can access certain things. But I don't want quick preview. I don't want a future where I'm spending $60 for a game that can vanish, just flat out. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, my counter to that is obviously get with the times, but...
that's fine, but you can't use that more than once.
I mean, we're not going to dive into it now because that's going to be another 2 hours, and we're just not going to do that. So, long story short, the gaming industry is changing and will continue to change and likely be this way for the next 10 years. What will change it and revert it back will be when people get tired of it.
And it will happen.
It will happen eventually, and it will happen when the kids, because it's the kids, who are currently playing these games and changing the industry get older and to be like, I want to dive into a story. And they start playing games that for them will be considered like retro games, which would be games that we're like God of War 5. We're like, oh my God, DMC 5, oh my God. They'll play them and they'll consider them to be retro games, and then they'll dive into that kind of a universe. I'm trying to instill that in my own kid right now into the 5-year-old. She loves playing on the Super Nintendo Mini, and she'll sit there and play through Mario and play Kirby and play Donkey Kong for hours, bro. She wants to go.
That's amazing. You know what's really funny is on that same kind of level, my son. I made a pie for him, a Raspberry Pi. You know what that is, right? I don't want to go into the. So for over Thanksgiving break, he was with me, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, boot up your Pi, check out this game." And I got stupid into this, like old, very well. I mean, it's very rare to come across as far as like a physical version of it. That's why I'll never stream it because I don't technically own it. Game for the GBA. But I played the shit out of it, and it's a really great game. And just the fact that my son came to me and showed me like a really old GBA-based, Game Boy Advance-based game from way back in the day that he found messing around on his Pi, I'm excited about that. Like, I can't wait for my son to sit down and play Final Fantasy VI and let me know what he thinks of that kind of thing. Granted, he plays a lot of Minecraft right now. Like, he's gone back to Minecraft, which that's awesome. Even YouTube, if you look at how that stuff has gone, if you follow that kind of shenanigans, a lot of the videos or a lot of the popularity of video games shifted from Fortnite to Minecraft during this year. Shifted back to Minecraft.
There's a lot of people I've noticed in Minecraft that are like hacking servers and stuff, and I'm like, I don't understand the draw to the game. I don't like that kind of graphic style, though, and that's probably why I don't understand it. It is what it is. I will likely get the oldest one into it at some point, or let her get into it. But she likes jumping into Apex, into the firing range, and walking up to the bots, and like putting the Kraber directly on, like literally face to face with the bot, zooming in on their skull and shooting. It's hilarious, but she's like, can I play the red guy version of the game? Is that okay? So she likes doing that. But yeah, so it is what it is. Hopefully we can get another one of these out within the next month. I do hope everybody has an enjoyable holiday. I am currently now on my 2 weeks of vacation. I don't go back to work till the 30th, so there will be plenty of daytime streams from me over the next couple of weeks. Definitely going to do one on Tuesday, so make sure that you tune in for that, because that is my birthday, and I turned the big old 3-4. So we'll see how much fun we can have on that during the day, because I'm sure that evening will likely be spoken for. So I will definitely get some fun stuff up that day. I might actually dive way deep into Division 2 and play that for most of the day.
Finally.
After getting some stuff done in Apex. Because I got to finish out the Battle Pass for that, which doesn't take long, to be honest. I've been maxed out on the PlayStation Battle Pass since like week 6. So, yeah. But, yeah.
So let me ask you a sidebar question. I feel like I've asked you this before, but I don't know if I've done it in a public setting such as this. Do you buy the Battle Passes on both systems? Okay, so you got to understand there's a slight video lag, so when you do the quick head nod, it doesn't look like you did anything. Yeah, there you go. You fucking whore. So since Ryan's sitting here, oh my God, is that the sound that you make? I mean,
yeah. So I do buy on Xbox and PlayStation. I buy the premium Battle Pass for both at the start of the season. Knowing that regardless, I'll get them both completed. I don't buy it on PC because I don't have the opportunity to play it as much. I've been playing it up at the Play Live. It's local to us that we go to in Frisco. And I started getting back into mouse and keyboard, and I'm absolutely trash, so I just started plugging in a controller to it. The graphics are better, obviously, but the gameplay is still a little bit faster, and as a controller player, I'm fighting against mouse and keyboard guys most of the time. So it's interesting and it's fun, but I don't think it says it's not a system that I main until I get a PC that can truly handle it here. I'm not going to worry about like working on Battle Pass stuff for that. I did actually end up doing the $10 Battle Pass on my Smurf account So every now and again, you might see me on PlayStation as the Urgic Odin 85, running stuff there. You know what, dude? Xbox gave me that name as like my extra gamer tag, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking keep it because it's weird and it works.
That's fine. Like, my son inherited one that I created specifically to get an achievement in Portal 2, and I'm about to have to drop $10 to change the name because I'm sure he's sick of having just some random collection of words and numbers being his fucking shit.
I've got a gamer tag on Xbox for the oldest that's like 2 Creature 45, something like that, and I created a random Outlook email for it so it would create so she could do Dragon Ball stuff and not mess with my shit. And now, whatever. But yeah, I get it. But yeah, so if anybody ever sees me on PlayStation and they see videos on the new Dead Hood channel that I have up with the Urgic Odin, that is me. That is my gameplay. It's just my Smurf account.
Well, I would hope that you would put those up with your beautiful face cam active instead of putting up these videos that you're doing.
I'm clipping them on PlayStation, dude. It's so hard to do that with PlayStation. Like, getting the recording set up with the program that I use is very difficult to do. And I don't like having to use an extra program just to do that.
Okay.
So, I could do analyzation videos, though. I could upload those and then basically do like, all right, let's analyze this gameplay, and I can do that here. Easy enough.
I think your audience would more rather watch you stream than watch you edit shit. So
maybe, who knows? But yeah. So with that, I think we're probably gonna call today. I don't even know what episode this is, but we'll get it uploaded into the Late Night Enforcers YouTube channel. Fiend has something else to say that nobody gives a shit about, but we'll hear him.
Oh, you motherfucking piece of shit. Okay, so since you spent some time fucking, like, advertising your upcoming streams, here I go. I understand that right now I'm on Dead Hood's Twitch channel. What the fuck? Fuck that shit. I don't give a fucking shit about that shit. We fucking put together a channel that we were using for Late Night Enforcers, but since I can't fucking stream because I'm on a fucking laptop all the time, I just gotta sit here and say it to you. Follow Fiend75002 on Twitch. That's where you're gonna see fucking narrative-driven anime cops, weeb fucking waifu fucking bullshit that I like playing. That's not with a battle pass. It's a fucking physical purchases of weird fucking 16-bit games.
Everybody should look all of us up on Facebook. Dead Hood, Fiend75002, and Late Night Enforcers. I put a really funny clip from one of his streams up on the Late Night Enforcers page the other day. He got really dirty.
Oh my god, did you shit?
You haven't seen it?
No, so I watched the clip tonight. I didn't know that you shared it on the fucking Facebook. Look, I'm old. The older I get, the further I get from Facebook, man. I use the Messenger to talk to you, Hater, and Steady.
I put it in the chat. I put the link to that post in the chat.
I know, but still, I went and looked at it through Twitch because...
He's fucking tard.
Fuck a bunch of Zach Zuckerberg or whatever the fuck his name is.
Okay, so don't follow him on Facebook. He's not gonna fucking see it.
No, I mean, I'll fucking see that. Follow that. It's just nobody fucking, you know what? Follow me on fucking Twitter and Instagram. That's where you're going to get more fucking interaction out of me.
That's truth. That's fucking truth. I do everything on Facebook. He does everything Twitter and Instagram. But regardless, we hope you enjoy your holiday season, regardless of how you choose to celebrate it. And we hope that it's fulfilling and that you are ready to start the next year and kick its ass as we are planning to. So, with that, we will end it, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, boy.